Imagine it's a Friday afternoon in 1955. You are 65 years old. You've spent 30 years at the same plant, the same office, or the same mill. Your coworkers gather around. There's a cake, a firm handshake from the CEO, and a small, heavy box. Inside is a gold watch, an heirloom. But that watch isn't the real gift. The real gift is the defined benefit, a promise signed in ink that for as long as you and your spouse are breathing, a check will arrive in your mailbox every single month. It isn't a gamble. It isn't a market projection. It is a guaranteed share of the company's success that you helped build. In 1955, retirement wasn't a math problem that kept you awake at night. It was a victory lap. Now, snap back to 2026. Look at your 401k statement. Look at the red arrows. Look at the management fees siphoning off your life savings while the market swings like a pendulum. Today, the gold watch has been replaced by a digital casino. We were told that the 401k was freedom. We were told we were investors. But the truth is much darker. Between 1978 and today, the greatest corporate rug pull in human history took place right under our noses. The risk of growing old was quietly shifted from the billion-dollar corporation's balance sheet directly onto your kitchen table. They took your certainty, and they sold you a lottery ticket. Today, we're going inside the archives to investigate the death of the American pension. We're going to look at the secret 1978 legislation that changed everything, and we're going to calculate exactly how much wealth was stolen from your golden years to pad the pockets of Wall Street. If you've ever wondered why you're still working while your grandfather was playing golf at your age, you're about to find out the mathematical reason why. Welcome back to Vintage American Life. Let's look at the heist. To understand what we lost, we have to understand how it used to work. In 1955, the American middle class stood on what economists called the three-legged stool of retirement security. It was a simple, sturdy structure. The first leg was Social Security. The second was personal savings. But the third leg, the strongest one, was the company pension. In 1955, nearly half of all private sector workers were covered by a defined benefit plan. The math was beautiful in its simplicity. If you earned the average salary of $4,200 a year, your company didn't just give you a paycheck, they took on the responsibility of your future. They managed the investments. They hired the professionals. They took the market risks. Your only job was to show up, work hard, and stay loyal. Before we go further, I want to ask you a question. Did your parents or grandparents have a pension like this? Did you see the difference it made in their final years compared to the anxiety we feel today? Drop a comment below. We need to document these real-life stories because the official history books are trying to erase how secure life used to be. Let's look at the purchasing power of that 1955 pension. A typical pension check might have been $150 to $200 a month. By today's standards, that sounds like a joke, but in 1955, that was a king's ransom. Remember, your $8,000 house was already paid off. Your new Chevy had been bought with cash years ago. With $200 a month in 1955, you weren't just surviving, you were thriving. You could pay your property taxes, keep the lights on, fill the fridge with high-quality meat, and still have enough left over for a yearly trip to the coast. You didn't have to check the ticker tape of the New York Stock Exchange every morning to see if you could afford to eat. The risk of the world lived outside your front door. Inside your home, there was peace. But there was something else. In 1955, corporations viewed pensions as a badge of honor. It was a sign of a blue-chip company. To provide for your elders was considered the ultimate American value. It was a social contract written in gold. But as we move into the late 60s and early 70s, the financial architects started looking at those pension funds, those trillions of dollars sitting there, protected for the workers, and they saw something else. They saw a liability that was hurting the bottom line. They decided that the three-legged stool was too expensive for the CEOs. And that brings us to the year 1978, a year that should be burned into the memory of every working American. Because in 1978, a small, boring-looking change was made to the Internal Revenue Code, a change known as Section 401k. It wasn't designed to help you, it was designed to replace you. If the 1955 pension was a fortress of security, how did we end up in the fragile glass house of the 401k? Most people believe the 401k was a carefully crafted gift from the government to help us build wealth. They are wrong. The 401k was never intended to be a retirement plan for the American worker. It was a mistake, an accident of history. In 1978, a benefits consultant named Ted Benna was looking through the Internal Revenue Code. He stumbled upon a boring, technical paragraph in Section 401, subsection K. It was a tax loophole designed for wealthy executives to take a portion of their year-end bonuses in tax-deferred cash. That was it. It was a rich man's perk. But the financial architects on Wall Street and in corporate boardrooms saw a golden opportunity. They realized that if they could convince the average worker to use this loophole, the corporations could stop paying for pensions. Think about the genius of this heist. They didn't tell you they were taking away your security. They told you they were giving you choice. They told you that you were now the master of your own destiny. You could pick your own stocks. You could watch your balance grow every day. They rebranded a corporate liability as individual freedom. If this is the first time you're hearing that the 401k was a loophole and not a plan, hit the like button right now. We need to signal the algorithm that the truth about 1978 needs to be told. The more likes we get, the more people we can wake up to this mathematical crime. By the mid-1980s, the rug pull was in full swing. Companies across America began freezing their pension plans. They told their loyal employees, "We aren't doing the pension anymore, but don't worry, we'll match 3% of your 401k contribution." Do you see the math? In 1955, the company was responsible for 100% of your retirement. In the 401k era, you are responsible for 97%, and they generously offer a tiny match that they can stop paying whenever the economy gets bumpy. But the real crime isn't just the lack of funding, it's the fees. In 1950, pension funds were managed in bulk for thousands of workers with almost zero cost to the individual. Today, your 401k is a feast for Wall Street middlemen. Between expense ratios, administrative fees, and advisory costs, many Americans lose 30 to 40% of their total lifetime gains to the house. In 1955, the house always paid out. In 2026, the house always takes a cut. So, if the risk was shifted to you and the fees are eating your gains, what happens when the market doesn't go up? What happens when the casino closes its doors on the day you turn 65? That is the mathematical nightmare we are going to calculate in the next section. Now let's look at the math they don't want you to see. In the 1955 system, the corporation was your shield. If the stock market crashed, if interest rates spiked, or if a global crisis hit, that was the company's problem. Your pension stayed exactly the same. The risk lived on a corporate balance sheet in a skyscraper. But today, the risk lives in your spare bedroom, on your laptop, and in your gut every time you watch the evening news. When the 401k replaced the pension, It wasn't just a change in how we save, it was the greatest transfer of risk in human history. They moved the burden of economic survival from the billion-dollar entity to the individual family. Think about the cruelty of that math. They are asking you, a teacher, a mechanic, a nurse, to also be a professional hedge fund manager. If you make one mistake in your portfolio at age 30, you pay for it at age 70. If the market decides to take a 30% dive the year you plan to retire, that's your problem, not the company's, not the government's, yours. I want to do a quick pulse check. Are you currently worried that a market crash will wipe out your ability to retire? If you feel like you're gambling with your future instead of building it, share this video right now. We need to reach the people who are being told everything is fine while their safety net is being shredded. And then there is the silent thief, inflation. In 1955, as we saw in our grocery investigation, $10 was a week of food. Because the dollar held its ground, a pension of $200 a month stayed powerful for decades. But in 2026, the dollar is melting. The financial architects tell you that your 401k is growing because the numbers are getting bigger. But look closer. If your account grows by 7%, but the real-world cost of a hospital stay, a car, or a bag of groceries grows by 15%, you aren't getting richer, you are getting liquidated. In 1955, you retired into a world of fixed costs and guaranteed income. In 2026, you are retiring into a world of exploding costs and variable gambles. They have replaced the golden years with a permanent state of financial vigilance. You can never truly relax because the system is designed to ensure that the American worker never truly becomes independent of the system. So, what is the final cost of this heist? What did we actually lose when we traded that gold watch for a login password and a prayer? That is what we are going to face in our final conclusion. As we look back at that 1955 retirement party, the gold watch, the handshake, and the guaranteed check, we have to ask ourselves, is this progress? We were told that the move to the 401k was about innovation. We were told that the old pension system was obsolete. But when you strip away the flashy banking apps and the complex market jargon, what are we left with? We traded certainty for probability. We traded peace for vigilance. We traded the company's responsibility for the individual's burden. The financial anger we feel today isn't just about inflation or high prices. It's the deep internal realization that the social contract has been torn up. In 1955, the deal was simple. Give us your best years, and we will ensure your final years are dignified. Today, the deal is, give us your best years and good luck in the casino. This wasn't a natural evolution of the economy. It was a choice made in 1978 to prioritize corporate balance sheets over human lives. We are documenting the truth of what was taken from the American family, and we are just getting started. If you believe this story needs to be told, subscribe to Vintage American Life and hit that notification bell. We are building a community of people who refuse to forget how good life used to be and how hard we've been pushed to accept less. But the retirement heist was only one part of the plan. To truly understand why the modern family is struggling, you have to look at the ground beneath your feet. In our next investigation, we are going back to 1955 to look at the Main Street economy. We are going to look at why your local town used to be a fortress of wealth and how it was systematically dismantled and replaced by the big box vacuum. You do not want to miss the death of Main Street. I'll see you in the next one.